Let's now go over tracking your accessibility project. You'll need to use a tracking platform of some kind because you need to be able to keep track of issues, keep track of your progress, and then ultimately where you end up. Also, this goes right along with having documentation. You want to have documentation because you want to have evidence of your investment in accessibility and the accessibility of your different digital assets. So, you can use a spreadsheet, so you could use Google Sheets or Excel, or you can use the accessibility tracker platform or potentially another platform. What's so important when you use a platform is to make sure that it is audit based and not scan based, because many platforms are actually scan based. And if that's the case, then you can't actually track the for full WCAG conformance. So if you have an audit based tracking platform, that means that the issues are all going to be based on your audit report, which is what you want because we're trying to get to full WCAG conformance. And if we're using a platform that is based on a scan, we're only going to be able to track those issues that a scan is going to flag. So it's very important that you use an audit based platform. And that's what I have here. Almost all platforms are scan based and scans are limited. Remember that scans are only going to flag approximately 25% of WCAG 2.1 AA issues. And we need to have confidence and we need to have certainty that we are tracking to full WCAG conformance. So this is extremely important. So here I have use an audit-based platform, upload your audit to track full WCAG conformance because this is what we are after. So on this next slide, I have a screenshot of a Google Sheet, and here we can see that we can track issues. So this is very doable for free with a simple Google Sheet, and that I will also link to. I have an ADA Title II resource page with a Google Sheet, and this Google Sheet can be used for different entities. It doesn't have to be simply for Title II web compliance, but here we have this spreadsheet that I've created, and it's to help anybody track issues. So we can see here there's a status column, and some of the issues are marked as not started. Some of them are marked as 75% progress, etc. We have a role. So here, this is not actually for an audit report, but it's for the different WCAG success criteria. So we can see in this column that we have, or in the rows that we have the different success criterion, and then we have the URL, and then we have the issue. So obviously this is a template, but it is meant to help you organize your efforts. So here you would take your audit report and then you would populate this different information inside of the spreadsheet. So this is what you're looking at if you're using an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. The key is to stay organized and to make sure that everything remains accurate. And you don't want to have someone make a change and then you're uncertain of that change, or you don't know the status. So you'd also want to have a column here for notes. But this looks like an audit report. It's just here we have template data. So you can use a spreadsheet as your tracking platform. On this next slide, I have a screenshot of the broad issue view inside of Accessibility Tracker. And what this really is an audit report transposed inside of Accessibility Tracker. So here you will really have a centralized hub where your team can work from. So we can see one of the columns is assigned to, so with this column, you'll know who's working on each individual issue. This can also help you make progress faster because you can have multiple people working on the project at once, and you can stay organized all the while because here we can see that which team member is responsible for which issue. This is extremely helpful when it comes to having developers working on the advanced code issues, and then potentially designers working on color contrast issues or other design issues. And then we can have content editors who are working on issues that are related to content. So this is a nice way to really work through the project faster. And then, of course, we have all of the familiar columns that come with an audit report. So here we can see the issue number, we can see the location of the issue description, we can have the WCAG success criterion. We also have the status. This is a very important column. We can see here that some statuses are marked as completed, some are marked as validated. We also have an in progress and a needs work. So this is where your team can internally work through some of the statuses, and then when they've deemed the issue fixed, then they can mark this as completed. And then you can have the technical accessibility expert, whether it's the expert within in-house or whether it's a third-party expert, they can then come in and mark the issue as validated, which means that yes, the team has actually fixed this issue, it's been resolved, and we can now check this off. So that's what you're going after, is a validation of each issue. Then we can set a custom priority. So there's a priority column, then there's a user impact column, and then there's a risk factor column. Now, these two columns, user impact and risk factor, are a way to prioritize the accessibility issues. So many accessible.org clients want to prioritize the issues, but they're not sure how. Here, you can do so in seconds with custom formulas that we've created. Risk factor is based on the serial litigation that's going on inside of the United States concerning website owners. So here, if you're a website owner and you're concerned with being sued, then you can work through the issues that are most likely to be claimed by a plaintiff's lawyer. And then we also have user impact, and this assigns a score, and you can sort by the score. And here we're looking at the most amount of impact to the most amount of users. And then the last column is for action, so we can delete the issue or we can view the issue. So what's really important to know is that this is just the broad view. We can view the issue and get the granular view where we are looking at all of the details from the audit report. And so this is going to help anybody who's working on the issue know exactly what's involved. And then you have AI tools that can help you with the fixes. So even if your team is new to accessibility, the different AI tools can really help advance your team and make it so that fewer rounds of validation are needed. And this can move our project completion date up sooner. So it's very helpful that there's AI inside of Accessibility Tracker. So a few bullet points on Tracker. It's built specifically for project management for accessibility projects. So of course, there are so many different project management softwares, but here we have a platform that is built specifically for accessibility projects. You can invite team members, you can assign issues, and then you can validate all inside of Accessibility Tracker. You can also prioritize issues. So we just talked about that. Also, there's AI inside of the dashboard to help you with fixes, even when your team doesn't have experience. And then you can get instant automated progress reports that are generated by artificial intelligence. All right, so last we'll end with resources. If you need help with an audit or other support services for your project, you can go to accessible.org. You will also find a cost calculator if you need help estimating how much your project will cost. Also, we just went over Accessibility Tracker. This is a platform that tracks all accessibility issues, not just those flagged by a scan, and it has AI to help your team with fixes. And then in the description for your video, you will find a playlist to this entire training. You will also find any updates to this lesson, as well as more resources to help you with your accessibility project. That is going to do it for this lesson. We will continue on with the next.